Let's get started. Welcome to the San Carlos Computer Club.
Yay.
Welcome everybody. I'm Scott Stimson from International Computer Solutions. This is our regular Tuesday meeting at 10 o'clock at Tequilas. However, it is the last in-person meeting until October. I will be leaving to Phoenix and then Alaska tomorrow. Next Tuesday's meeting, I have to not be participating in. So you guys can do whatever you want with your Tuesday. I will not be available. You want to meet on your own? That's fine. There's no rules to this, but I won't be there. Oh. I'm also not certain about the Tuesday that follows. In fact, let me look at it right now as we're talking about it. I think I will be doing a virtual meeting Tuesday the 21st. That will be when I'll be back in the meeting. That'll be from Phoenix. And then on the 22nd, I'm flying up to Alaska. So
are you saying that when you're on the road next Tuesday, you're not going to check in?
No, I'm not even going to try. Not even going to try. I'm going to drive, partner to drive with me. It's just me driving up to Phoenix.
Oh, geez, how brave of you.
Thank you. Well, I don't think you would want me like shifting gears and driving in traffic and letting people into a discussion group and trying to share documents.
That's true.
But you could be sitting with the truckers.
Yeah, well, that's true. I could be stuck at the border.
Sunday is always the best.
We're leaving on Sunday.
Yeah,
for a lot of reasons.
Well, my plan is Tuesday, and in the middle of the week seems like a pretty good time to go too.
Wednesday's a nice day to go.
Yeah.
I do it every 6 to 8 weeks.
You know what I've discovered?
Sunday is
You know when
the
the best
best
day to go? Any day that ends in day.
Oh, you're talking about going to Mexico.
We're talking about being alive.
All right. So, yes.
I have to report.
Okay.
My DNS proxy got screwed up again.
No.
And I went into Deco. And
Oh, congratulations.
I'm
All right.
There was something on the topics about 10 versus 11.
Oh, yeah. I have to proclaim that I put news articles here. I'm hoping Christine read the ones she sent me because I put them on here and I did not get a chance to read them.
I only read the first 3 paragraphs.
Probably all you need.
Yeah, any news article, I find that.
And the article you're referring to is this one that I just find
Microsoft,
fascinating,
yeah.
that Windows has reached a 70% market share, Windows 10. As Windows 11's market share is declining and support for Windows is going away, for Windows 10 is going away. So they're watching, this is a very strange phenomenon. Normally people are moving over to Windows, over to the latest version of Windows. That's the way their metrics work during this time period. But instead what's happening is people are doubling down on the older operating system, and they're seeing a rise in the number of people that are using Windows 10 and a decline in people that are using the latest operating system, Windows 11. I don't know what this means. This is a fluffy article just pointing out the fact and making fun of Microsoft for where they are. I think the most significant thing is this is that people just will put off going into Windows 11 as long as they can.
What I was going to say, what about if it ain't broke, don't try to fix it?
Yeah.
And the VPN thing?
The VPN thing, say that again.
Apparently with 11, there is a problem with staying on your VPN. It's in and out and in and out.
Oh.
10, it's safer.
Yeah.
Or more secure.
Now,
Never had any problem with it.
well, you haven't had a problem with it either. You're talking about things you've read, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm thinking I've read the same thing, but I
I'm
haven't
10.
seen any problems with it, with Windows 11. Windows 11, and very specifically some latest update that has been put out that has to do with why a VPN is having problems. But I think I've only read that. I've not experienced that myself. And I don't run Windows 11. I don't have any position on it. I just don't have a computer that will run it. So I'm helping people with Windows 11 all all the time, but I don't have one of my own running Windows 11.
Well, I'm on 10, but I blame Telmex. I mean, we're just in and out and in and out where I am.
Oh, for your internet
Yeah.
issues. Yeah.
You don't have it. Tucson.
No, I use a hotspot in Tucson. It's better service.
I don't know if you remember, but Windows 10 was supposed to be the last operating system. All right. No, we're going to keep putting out operating systems. Windows 10 was going to represent the free operating systems. I guess that's what's happening because the biggest complaint with 11 is all the advertising that's in it. All
the lack of privacy.
and,
And then they're already coming out with 12.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Now that they made you buy a new computer for 11, they're going to come out with 12. And you may have to buy another computer.
yeah, this is going to be an interesting position, isn't it?
By
The-
then I may need a new computer.
And 10 was the last one.
Well, yeah, for 11, you didn't need a new computer. For what they propose in 12 with all this AI stuff, you do need a new computer.
For 11, you needed it if you wanted to install it legally.
Well, right. That's my point. Is that it was an artificial constraint on the operating system. They just arbitrarily said, "Oh, you don't meet this security criteria, so your computer can't run it." And then if you did run it, you're running it at your own risk. And actually, Jim, did you hear that those at your own risk computers, they're shutting off?
No.
Yeah, they had an announcement a while back. It was probably going to break all those at your own risk computers because of a code in the Intel chipset that isn't supported before generation 8
They're going to turn on.
that they're going to turn on, and it's going to break all these other computers.
Well, we'll see. I don't have any that are done that way. All my 10s are 10s.
Yeah.
And all
Your
my,
11s
my
are
111 is 11.
Yeah, I've had no interest in opening up that can of worms.
Well, not until there's no more support for 10.
Yeah.
Or it starts giving me problems.
Well, I'm kind of in the in-between world. Like, I would buy a brand new Macintosh. It doesn't have a touch screen. That really bothers me. It didn't bother me 5 years ago. Now it really bothers me they don't have a touch screen. I would buy a Windows-based computer, but what Jim's saying is absolutely right. The 12 is about to come out. I mean, it's not about in this world. It's like next year it's going to come out. They're prepping hardware manufacturers with these in neural processing units, these MPUs, which is already in the Macintosh world. That's what their chipset uses, is these neural processors. And it's already somewhat available in the mobile phone Qualcomm market, that set of chips, but it doesn't exist. I'm saying I'm making some absolutes. There's arguments say, well, that's not necessarily true, but in general, it's not available in the Windows market yet. And then when it is available, they're going to be pushing Windows 12. Your Windows 11 computer is not going to be able to take advantage of the things that they're pushing for 12 because you don't have the neural processing unit. And so they're going to have to either allow a lot of Windows 11 support, so like years of support because you just bought that computer, or they're going to have to dial down the system requirements of 12 so that these Windows 11 computers can move up to 12 without needing that neural processing unit. Anyway, it all comes down to what am I buying next? Because if I bought it this summer, it's not going to be ready for Windows 12 in the way that they imagine it. It's not going to have the hardware. And Qualcomm is showing off these ARM chips that are looking really good for Macintosh competitors. And you might be running Windows on it. And the only thing screwing that up, because I like Windows. I like where we've gotten with Windows. I've got some favorite I like Windows 2000. I like Windows 7. I like Windows 10. They're kind of like good and bad movies in a franchise. There's some you just want to stay away from, and others that are really good. Windows 11 is the example of them trying to monetize in a different form, and I'm afraid that's just going to get worse. That this is an advertising platform and a data collection platform for them, and they will reach a point where it's just free. You can just have it. Because they're selling your data. They're just collecting it, selling it. And the only one that's to do that is Apple. They quite literally sell it to themselves.
And Linux,
What was that, Jim?
and Linux,
Well, Linux,
stronger and faster and more better.
yeah.
More better.
I mean, it's a whole
More
different.
better.
More robust.
I ran out of words.
Yeah, I mean, for an enthusiast that's concerned about security and privacy, and they don't mind taking a lot of administration on themselves, Linux is a great operating system, and it's just gotten better. And most computers, you can stick in a USB drive, and you can load up the operating system and run it without installing it, or you can go ahead and just dedicate the. I'm looking at 3 computers here that if they stay in my life, they're going to end up Linux computers. I won't. I won't make them Windows 11 computer. I won't hack a version of Windows 11 to go on it because it's a can of worms. In fact, you guys quite a while, but you probably don't remember when we decided not to deal with pirated software. It was a big deal in our business way back in the early 2000s because we're competing against computer shops in Wymus for these customers, and they're just giving pirated software away. And what we found is that they were doing it at a real cheap price, but having to fix the software back in 4 months and pay 200 pesos to get Microsoft Word to work again. And so Sony and I decided, you know what, we're not going to run our business like that. We're gonna give people good free alternatives that are legitimately free, and we're going to suggest to them how they can buy the good software. But we're not going to set customers up to have this experience where every 4 months they've got a problem with their computer. It sounds like we're introducing viruses into their computers. So we stopped back then, and I still get calls from time to time. Scott, can you put this software on my computer? I'm like, why would you do that? There's absolutely this awesome software that's completely free that you can use to open up your Word document, LibreOffice, right? Yeah. Or you can, if you want a cloud-based system, you can use Google Docs, or even the Microsoft cloud-based stuff is really good. There's no reason for you to have a pirated piece of software on your computer. All it does is open security holes. And that's why, and I'm telling you, the reason I'm sharing this is because that's why I won't hack a version of Windows 11 onto a computer, and all of a sudden it doesn't work anymore.
You have to remember one thing, though.
What's that, teacher?
You can't fix stupid.
Okay.
Your question was, why would someone do that? Because you just can't fix stupid.
Oh, okay.
That's a good line.
Yeah, I like that line.
Well,
I didn't like the Mac. I had one. I had the one that everything was in the screen, which I loved. I didn't have a CPU.
all in one. Yeah.
And I adjusted to their Word and Excel equivalent. But
Page and
Quicken.
Quicken. Yeah.
Their software for Quicken was nowhere near as the Microsoft version. I had to install the dual access so I could use that Quicken.
I remember us dealing with Quicken and QuickBooks issues between cross-platform, specifically because they wouldn't deal with exchange rates. The Windows-based software would totally deal with exchange rates, and the Macintosh software for years would not deal. You literally would run 2 sets of books if you were going to do it. And at the time, neither QuickBooks or Quicken was taken as serious accounting software in Mexico. Mexico actually would sanction. It's a group called ASPEL, and they have a whole package of accounting and tax software that you get familiar with if you're a business here in Mexico. QuickBooks did go through a short period of time where you could use it for Mexican businesses, and has only now recently that's gone away. It's expired in some way. They're not because of the government. The government would sanction it again, but QuickBooks is just not seeing it as a way to make money. So they supported it, they sold it, they trained people, and now they've pulled out. And so they've left businesses using this software package that they can't get updates for. They can't get access to their banks. You know, all that bank linkage data stuff. That stuff's been shut off now.
Is it being supported on QuickBooks Online?
Only in the flavor of the U.S. offering. So even if you're working in pesos, you're making it's a whole pesos experience. It's not a Mexican offering. You've bought it from the United States. You pay the United States subscription fee. They've pulled out of Mexico. Pulled out like Televisa's suing Roku. They pulled out.
What?
That happened. That happened a few years ago. You know,
That's true?
yeah, you couldn't have. No, this is years ago. Roku got Televisa pointed at Roku and made them the poster child for illegal streaming, which is so wrong. If you know anything about illegal streaming, Roku is far from the culprit
It's
that's
not
making it
Roku.
possible, right? But Televisa, Roku has a legal presence in Mexico, and so they were a target, and Televisa decided to sue them. And so they were able to get the Mexican federal government to shut down Roku's business distributing equipment and services in Mexico until the lawsuit was
It was a couple of years it lasted. too.
last couple of years. And Roku did like this, in my opinion, one of the smartest things you could do in this situation. They just sprayed the Latin American market with all their products and services they could. So like instead of Mexico, they did all the way down South America. They did Central America. They built up this huge Latin American portfolio. And when they finally won the case, they just flipped a switch and they had this huge content delivery just ready to go for Mexico. And it was like overnight, you could buy the equipment, you had the services ready. It was probably one of the smartest moves they'd ever made.
Unlike their commercials they're going to be giving us. And you can't sue them anymore because if you don't agree not to sue them, they turn it off on you.
The commercials?
No, the Roku.
Service.
The Roku completely gets
Yeah.
turned off. You know, Jim, I don't think you were here, but I was describing when my buddy Sid was here, we had to buy a brand new Samsung TV for the office because my projection TV finally died. And one of the things that we discovered was that we could not take advantage of any service, any kind of, whether it was local or internet service, network service, without a Samsung account. There was no way. All you could do, if you pulled it out of the box, turned it on, and did not want to get involved in
Register.
Samsung, the only thing you could do is hook up like an HDMI cable.
Mhm.
So you could hook up your satellite dish, you could hook up, but if you wanted to like cast from your phone, you had to have a Samsung account. If you wanted to use the Samsung, if you wanted to use the Samsung TV for a Netflix platform, you had to have the
Any of
Samsung
their
account.
apps.
Wait a minute. I have a Samsung that I use with a Fire Stick.
Mm-hmm.
No problems at
That's
all.
because it
Nope.
plugs into the HDMI.
Because it plugs
port.
into the
Oh, okay.
HDMI.
All right.
But this is an example. This is like heated seats that you got to pay a subscription fee for,
That's weird.
Yeah, but
right?
you could still sue
BMW.
Samsung. What Roku is doing, I turned on my Roku.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Only one of them. I turned it on. So I've got three.
You had to agree to
And I
arbitration.
had, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you don't agree,
You don't get
turn
to
off-
use it.
they turn off the Roku.
Yeah.
So your device that you bought
Oh.
that you can't hack or anything else because it's a proprietary.
Proprietary.
Yes,
Proprietary, yeah.
operating system is garbage.
Huh.
So you agree to it and they do something that you don't like or, screw you around, you can't sue.
Most of these terms of service, you are agreeing to let them screw with you later,
Yeah.
right? That's what in the fine print there. It's like we may change these
but they
terms
were
at
the
any
first.
time.
They're the first to do that.
Well, yeah, I don't think
Unless
that's
Apple
true.
did it.
Well,
Apple.
I think anytime you go back to a product that you were previously using and they're asking you to agree to a new terms of service, that's exactly what's happened.
Yeah, but they don't say you can't sue them or we turn you off.
Oh, well,
usually.
No, yeah, there is a nuance between, like, I guess what I meant, they could stick in this arbitration clause,
Yeah.
and the rest of the industry is watching how people react to Roku's Yeah, how it affects their customer base. I think my dream is a generation like my kids' age are going to recognize that this is all very stupid. You can't hold anybody legal responsible for a checkbox that you had to click so that your TV would work. There's no legal liability there.
Well, there is until they take them to court.
Well, that's what I'm saying is that I can imagine a Gen Z wave of lawyers coming through and saying, no, this is dumb. We all know this is dumb. You can't hold people accountable for this on-off button that you've put in and said that
But
you can.
hasn't Apple done that for years?
That's one of the reasons that they're in trouble right now, is because their business model doesn't fit the culture that has
Right.
grown up now.
Yeah.
Right? That's, I mean, am I wrong?
At the end of March.
Well, what I'm saying is that when you listen to these arguments being made levied against Apple, this is our point. Apple's kind of standing there scratching their head going, yeah, that's our business model. It is a better product when we close out all these other developers. It's a better product when your phone, your Macintosh, your tablet
But
all
aren't
work
there
together.
other people like me out there that refuse to use Apple products because of their marketing
Mm-hmm.
tool?
But isn't that an Apple problem? That's not a cultural problem. That's I mean,
And
Apple's
But we're not
Apple's made
arguing it.
trillions of dollars regardless.
And that's
Yeah.
called capitalism.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay,
Let the
Yeah.
let the market
right.
keep as much as possible, keep government out of the intrusions, let the marketplace, and do not allow the government to pick winners and losers. Allow the marketplace to pick winners and losers. And you'll have
But then you
greater,
end up with monopolies, which are.
no, you'll have
illegal.
greater innovation.
Well,
Trust me.
that's the thought. But again,
I'm not
we come out
sure.
of a culture that thought trickle down economy was going to work, and that has not happened. One of the things that I see is that technology has changed things. That it has amplified things. Things happen bigger and they happen faster.
Quicker, yeah.
And it is at a moment like this, we've never had this much technology, this much I kind of feel like we're floundering around as a culture, trying to figure out how do we advance, how do we get better with all this that we've got, and we're still driving in an old
Stagecoaches.
paradigm. We've got all this technology and we're still thinking about it in a caveman kind of way. And I think that we're going to see a generation, if it's not my kids' generation, maybe it's the generation that follows that, but they're going to see this as being, look at what we could be doing and look at what we're fighting over. It doesn't make any sense.
The altars need to be broken.
Well, I don't even know if we're the right ones to have the solutions. We're the ones that got us into this problem. You've probably, I mean, I don't mean to be ranting or anything, but I think about it often. I do. I look at my kids and I listen to their complaints, and I don't think that this younger generation's apathetic. I think they are scared to make the same kind of decisions that we have made to end up in any worse position that we are in right now. Hey, how you doing, Gary?
For your help the other day.
Well, thank you.
Thank you very much. I've been playing pickleball every Tuesday, and today I got to go to Doyman, so I just wanted to drop you.
Well, thank you. That's great.
You're more than
I
welcome to join
appreciate it.
us.
I've got to get into Guaymas by 11 here.
Okay.
All right. Well, it's good to see you. And I'm out of here. This is our last in-person meeting, and then I'm going up to Alaska. So
Okay.
I'll see you next
I
season.
think there's still snow there.
Yeah,
Does
that's
it
what
ever
spring looks like.
That's a 4-letter word.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ooh, people showing up and handing me money.
Hey,
You are just a dirty little whore, aren't
That's
you?
right. Yeah, I used to have this great rap about how I was very similar to a prostitute. I would go into strange men's bedrooms and work on their equipment, and then they'd leave me money.
This is a little bit too much more than we need to know.
Well, I don't know them. They hired me.
I would have phrased it as a strange person.
I always pay you in the living room.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair,
Actually be larger. So be able to test and make sure that the keystrokes, everything was working properly.
I just had a crash. case anybody's interested.
And this is our guru.
Yeah.
We're here. We don't care
I'm
about the
telling you, I
flash.
need new equipment.
This is the expert that we pay.
Who pays?
Big
Yeah.
bucks, huh? Big
Well,
bucks.
Yeah, right.
I'm like the cobbler whose kids have bad shoes.
Now that's
remember,
an old reference.
successful salesmen do not have skinny kids.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It could be genetics.
That was that was
I've
that was
heard that one.
that was Zig Ziglar.
But I think we're back up. I think everything's working. I think we've been in the meet all along. I see Jim's joined us. Mom's joined us. Dad's there. Is that Chester too, as well as Paul? Everybody online. Wow, that's a big group online. We got 5 online and 6 of us here in person.
Oh, it's a record.
That's as big a meeting that we've had this season.
In a
Yeah.
long time.
Yeah.
We're all here to say goodbye to you.
I guess that's it. Everybody's celebrating I'm leaving.
Don't let the door hit you.
Scott,
Yeah.
I'm showing you the light you're going to come to when you get here.
It looks beautiful.
Yeah,
Do you guys still have snow?
there is snow, but it's most of the snow around houses and things are gone. All of the snow around businesses is gone, but there are gigantic mountains of snow in, like open areas everywhere from the dump trucks. There's no way it's going to be able to melt this summer. There's no way.
So much snow.
So much snow, but things are greening up. I have a dandelion. It just happens to be growing in my little terrain of cactuses
Oh, this is in the house?
in the house. And outside the house, there's nothing yet except those little crocuses.
Sure. Just breakup. Just muddy breakup.
Yep. Yep. Sometimes we're wearing tall boots.
Well, I should be there shortly. I've only got 2 more weeks.
I know. We can't wait.
Well, we've all one of the topics I've brought and some of the stuff that just off the cuff. Does anybody have any things that any questions or troubleshooting that we should look into? Anything that's not working for you?
No, but are folks aware that if they had signed up back in the early 2000s on the Federal Registry for Do Not Call, that is now affecting text communications?
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, so it is now you can hold them legally responsible if they're texting you.
They can't.
They're not supposed to.
No, they cannot.
They're not supposed to.
No, they're prevented. Technically.
I doubt that.
No,
Doubt that severely.
trust me. Yeah, my business. Okay.
But you're talking about unsolicited text messages?
Unsolicited text messages.
I'll believe that when I see it. I don't believe that they can technically stop that. I think that the only way you can control it is through regulation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Allow me to further explain.
Okay.
Okay. Here. Have signed up back, you remember back in 2000, 2002, when people would be calling you at
Sure.
6 at dinner time
Mhm.
and so forth. What are they normally selling? Phone services, right? Okay. And we said, and we signed up for that do not call list for our phones. Okay. The FCC, in their wonderful wisdom, the end of March, and it did not give the industry much time to even figure out any workarounds. And right now there are no workarounds. Is that if you had signed up for that, businesses that are on your texting, personal texting, is called P2P, person to person. As a business, okay, once you exceed a certain threshold of outbound text versus inbound text, you automatically either get blocked or you have to register onto the A2P registry, and that's automated to person. Okay. So that it can be anywhere from small businesses sending out 1 text message at a time, but maybe sending 50 text messages in a day, or it could be 50,000 text messages automatically sent out. Everyone is on the A to P registry platform. And if you supersede that ratio, and it's normally about 55-45 of outbound to inbound, your text messages on P2P get blocked as a business.
DJ, you realize you're just describing an engineering problem. That's all. I mean, like the
No.
only thing that's gonna make me wait is because
Correct.
technically do.
Correct.
And what you're describing is the exact same model that's been used for junk mail,
Mhm.
and that hasn't nothing about that has disappeared. Every email service deals with that
Correct.
kind of algorithm.
Starting the end of March,
Mm-hmm.
okay, the FCC incorporated text messaging into the do not call list.
Sure.
So that if you were on the do not call list back from 2000, you may have even forgotten that you were ever registered on that. And I, as a small business or as a huge marketer, okay, if I attempt to send you a text message, I, as the sender of that message, will get a message stating that that message did not go through to you.
Yeah. But
And it totally blocks it.
there is nothing that's stopping you as a small business in any country, including ours, from using a marketing service that's outside our country to do whatever they have to send your message out through text messages. And there isn't a technical way that can be stopped. There is individual ways, but then there's ways around that. There always is. It's like I said, it's an engineering problem.
Correct, but it is currently an FCC
Violation.
and prevention. You cannot.
And for that, I mean, you are making my point for me with regulation in general, is that when we want to shape our culture, we want to shape our community, the only way that we can do it is through regulation, because technically, if it's technically possible, somebody's going to technically do it. I mean,
Correct.
if you leave
But
it to
the reason
mechanical
why I was
means,
bringing this up was so that people, because in 20 years, we have changed the entire mode of communications. We didn't have, before we got phone calls, and text messaging was a very minimal. Now, unfortunately, thanks to the Peter principle of someone rising to their level of incompetence and not realizing the unintended consequences of putting this regulation in regards to small businesses, that we now have actually a stymieing of capitalism because of a inappropriate and people putting forth this regulation that did not understand the unintended consequences.
I don't think it applies to politicians though, because I keep getting tests.
No, and there are exemptions in regards to political campaigns,
I was
in
gonna
regards to nonprofit and HIPAA.
On my American registered cell phone, I get political spam
Correct.
from Mexico continually.
yeah.
But as a business, if I'm a for-profit business, I cannot get that exemption. And I actually switched from being A to P, trying to figure out a workaround, go back to.
But as a business, that promises you mass market mailings, and it's out of your control. You gave it over to them. They're the ones that are violating the laws.
Correct.
Right. And
But
And they're
it would require me to change my business model.
sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. And you would have to make those decisions.
Or
You
incur additional costs.
the point being though that that's going to be the business. Because we've regulated it. They're like yourself. There are going to be businesses out there that just do it themselves. They just do it themselves. Teeth to begin with, anyway.
But there is teeth to this one. In that the text messages are blocked. And,
Yeah.
and I just wanted, the only reason why I brought it up was so that if someone inadvertently, and knowingly 20 years ago had put themselves on the DNC list, on the do not call,
Sure.
and are interested in getting marketing emails from businesses, then, and they may be.
I don't think so.
Is there anybody here that's interested in marketing messages from businesses? I can't imagine. I mean, we
Especially
are
not
in
from
a
trucking
constant.
company.
We're in an existential battle us
you're a
against
truck
them.
driver and you're looking for a new job, and I'm a third party recruiter, and I have that job for you, and I reach out to you.
That's what LinkedIn is for, right?
Truck drivers are not on LinkedIn,
Yeah, they should
Okay.
be though.
and I don't know who. I don't
must
know.
have
Yeah.
their own.
The information that I get from them is their telephone number, which allows me to text to them because of how the league
But-
get that information.
But again, you're talking about a single solicitation, not a mass
Correct.
solicitation, and that's a different.
Or even mass, either way. But especially on the small business, 1-to-1, it is extremely crimping on capitalism, on
Well-
small businesses.
Well, I got to counter this with. I just got a bunch of spam messages as soon as I signed up for my bed and breakfast on WhatsApp. I put my number out there. All of a sudden, I'm getting spammed, and I guess what I'm saying is that's a whole different technology than the do not call list,
Correct.
and there is no control over that because it's decentralized.
Jim, is Susan getting a bunch of messages?
So anyhow,
She had her
I just
phone
wanted to
number
bring to
all
attention
over St.
that
Louis.
if people are on the DNC
She was
call list
worried about
from
because
20
the
years
advertising
ago,
law stuff.
they
No.
may want
It's
to
applicable.
rethink
Well, it's a
rethink
valid
that
worry.
concept.
No.
And they may
she
want to
deleted all the
deactivate
posts
the
and took
DNC.
down most of
Yeah.
the flyers.
Yeah,
I mean, I really feel like that just got a
Just
very
that one.
limp response from. Like it didn't even expire at one time. It seems like it expired at one.
I'm
time.
not sure, but
Yeah.
it is active and running. And trust me, my text messaging was down the entire weekend until I had to re-register on the A2P registry
All right.
and refile forms that were required by the FCC. So it's
There's a Mexico one too, that
Mhm.
you should register your number on. Do not call list.
Well, I do think it's important. It's because you don't want this happening, and so when it does happen, it is
What is it
illegal.
called?
It is a
Yeah.
violation when it's happening.
What is the
So-
Mexican one called?
I don't know, Google. It's been a long time. I did it when I did it years ago.
see,
But
see,
Google it. It'll come right up.
see, proved my point. Yeah, I don't know. I
If
don't
you
even know where
find
to
out
go.
before I do.
I asked Google.
Okay.
just
You
have
could
to
ask
ask your wife.
Gemini. It would
You
give
don't
it would
need
give
to.
you at
You don't
least
need
4
Google
wrong
anymore.
phone numbers.
Just ask your wife. She knows everything.
No.
I have a local question.
Okay.
I'm in Villahermosa.
She knows a lot of things different.
You're a smart ass.
Not you. Talking about my wife.
Oh, okay.
Ray knows a lot of things too.
Not the right thing. We're having trouble with the spring winds. It happens every year. I'm wondering if you have heard any local rumors that perhaps we're getting a
No.
different.
You asking for fiber optics? No.
Yes.
Nobody's getting fiber optic
except
Why?
Jim.
because they've never installed more fiber optics. It's the same fiber optic rings that have been here since I first got here. And what they've done is equipment has gotten cheaper.
Mhm.
And so when something is broken, they put out
They
something
just
that has
replace
more capacity. And then maybe they can sell fiber in that area. But that's the only time. In fact, it's enough to make you want to go out and light some of these poles on fire because they would
Well,
have to replace it with the latest
Somewhere
equipment.
there's something loose that's
Yeah.
affected by the wind.
That'd be your
and
copper
we've-
phone line.
Copper phone lines.
Yeah.
Okay, I've had at least the repairman out there maybe 3 times in the last 6 months.
Yeah.
Nothing is better. What is the recourse in that action?
change internet
Can I
providers.
offer an unsolicited suggestion?
Yes,
Sure. I'm putting my nose where it doesn't belong. So
I'm not cheap.
I've never think you are. You're frugal.
What?
Okay. Starlight.
Oh, yeah.
Just stop all the nonsense.
Christine has
You're-
it.
I have it, and I run my business off it.
It
You
is.
just tell goodbye.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or Telmex. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever. I am serious about this.
That's
It-
what I meant.
And as
Okay,
long as you have, think of this, and with storm, we have storm weather coming up, storm season.
Mhm.
Okay, as long as you have power,
Mhm.
you've got internet.
Mhm.
And watch Home
Well-
Depot. Home Depot has sales
Within
on
reason.
the Starlink.
Yeah, because I've watched
never had a
Starlink
problem.
performance die because of
When
overcast,
you
but
say
around
that,
here,
what- you're talking about
there
the
isn't a lot of
modem?
overcast. So
You're talking about the
I
modem?
don't know about the storm example
it's a
specifically,
dish,
but just in
it
general,
comes
it's
with
better.
Oh, okay.
It comes with a
When
Wi-Fi.
when
So
Hillary
you could
came up
not
the
use
coast,
an existing
they had
dish.
Starlink, no questions,
No.
no problems.
Oh,
As
that's
long as
great.
power
Unless you
was up.
buy one from somebody
Because
else.
I've
and maybe
definitely
share.
had experiences
Well, I
with
have-
people, specifically in the Caracal,
An old one.
when
From
there's been
Starlink.
overcast, we've watched their
It has to be a
bandwidth
Starlink.
drop dramatically.
Okay.
On the service
about
side, I've never
65
had
a
a
month.
problem with my fiber getting
And
it serviced.
If it's
I
not on
don't go to
sale, it's
this
about 500
idiot
for the
office
dish.
we have. I go to the one in Wymus to see the main office,
But-
and they replaced my
When
drop
it-
line
Yeah.
from one of the storms.
Pay Jim
That's
to
fiber.
go argue to get your
That's fiber.
fiber
It's too bad
optic.
it's not underground because it would have survived the storm.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
There's a little bit more to this. There is an advantage in reference to Starlink here in Mexico,
Mhm.
and that is the US rate is about $110 a month.
Yeah.
And it's about $60 a month.
I have both. So.
Well,
So-
and they were running a discount on the equipment down here too. It was
Yeah,
almost
about-
half the
Yeah,
price.
it's about, you can get it for about $500.
Yeah.
And there
Or-
is services that will
Mhm.
install it for you.
I'm
Right.
thinking the last price I saw was
What do you
just
get it
over
for
just over 5,000 pesos.
Gee, only about
Mm.
100.
I think I've seen 3,900 pesos.
Okay.
So watch Home Depot.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Home
Sale.
Depot's had
200
deals that were.
some
Yeah.
down and about 213 down, 213.
I'm gonna Google it right now just to see what it's. Oh, that's
I
funny.
run a business.
I put in
Thanks, Steve.
starlink.com.mx and it says contact Jose at
Were you a former
starlink.com.mx.
trucker?
I gotta put that on our screen
I
Should've
own my own business.
right there.
Okay. All that I'm
That's the
doing is I'm
website
I'm
for
just-
starlink.com.mx is contact Jose at
Yes, there you go.
starlink.com.mx.
And installation
That's-
takes about an hour.
That couldn't be more a Mexican thing right there.
The current one that's available here in Mexico is the rotating one.
Mhm.
Okay. The latest version that is being sold up in the United States is a flat unit.
Mhm.
Okay. That has a little bit higher speeds. But what I've been experiencing in reference to directly
Yeah.
in on speed tests of in excess of 100
Yeah.
So the
download.
the equipment here in Mexico is 5,900 pesos,
There you go.
and the service monthly is 1,045 pesos.
As far as the equipment goes, I have a dish that's sitting up there from
No,
your TV.
no, it's completely unique equipment.
Okay,
totally
so I
different.
should make a patio cover out of, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
completely unique
A
equipment. In
bird
fact, if you
bath,
look up
that's
here,
very
Ray,
Bird bath or a frisbee.
Ray, this is the equipment right there.
Right there.
Okay.
And it
Well,
will
it's got a
automatically,
very
because
long
it's powered,
cable.
it will automatically
It dials
position
itself
as
in.
as it needs.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to watch when you first set it up because it'll scan the sky looking for the satellite.
And then you have
Set
an
itself
app
up.
on your phone that I went up on the margarita deck looking for the best place
Right.
to put
Gotcha.
it. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And if you do need a router,
Hmm.
In this
All right,
video,
plugged
we'll
in.
show you how to
so for
complete
example,
a
my
permanent
phone system,
installation of your
I
Starlink.
run off of
Permanent
Ethernet
installation
cable
is recommended
that you
for best
can
performance,
get
cable
a,
protection, and
router
long-term
connection.
reliability.
Mhm.
to be able to plug into a router also.
Let's begin by finding the ideal location for your Starlink.
But the
You'll
Wi-Fi
want a
is the
clear view of the
latest, or
sky,
not the
free from
latest.
obstructions.
What was
The
the latest
Starlink app
version
has a
of
built-in
Wi-Fi?
tool for identifying
Um,
obstructions like
The
hills,
new one has
trees,
the
and
latest and
buildings.
greatest, but that's the
For
US
best
product
results,
only,
use the
not
app at the
Mexican
exact
My
height
husband
and
installed
location
the
you
one
plan
in
to
the
install
US.
your Starlink.
And we had our
Here's an
Horizon
example of a bad location.
install it here because we
This
had to
tree is
connect to the
blocking
Verizon
Starlink's line of
security
sight to the satellites,
system, so-
causing
Now,
interruptions
Christy, when
and
you
drops
bought
while
yours,
using
did
the
you
internet.
have to special
This
order
site is
the
clear
the
and perfect
Ethernet
for your
cable
Starlink to
alongside,
connect
or
with the
was it
Starlink
part of the
satellite
default
No, you
constellation.
have to order.
Yeah.
the
Now let's
Ethernet.
look at some mounting options.
And
A
so
variety
that's
of
what
mounts are
allowed
available
her
on
to
the
put
Starlink
the
shop,
mesh network
including
around
installation
her
on an eave,
house is that cable.
roof,
Otherwise, that
wall,
device that you saw to
and
the,
come in
to the
drilling
right,
and non-drilling
that's your
options.
modem. That's
When
what you
selecting
use
an
for
area
needed
to
service.
it
install your
for the
Starlink,
Verizon
avoid
security
locations
system,
that
too.
require
They needed
drilling above
to
living
connect
areas.
in. Yeah,
A pipe adapter
yeah. That
is also
Ethernet
available and it's
adapter
designed to
allows
fit
you to
existing
connect
roof
up
mounts
a
or
switch
pipes.
that would allow you
Yeah.
to hook up
Whichever mount
much
you
more
choose,
network.
make sure the
equipment
mast of the
if you need.
Starlink is installed vertically.
Back to
Now
my
let's plan the
original
route for your cable.
premise then. Telmex
Making
is
sure it's
doing
long enough to
nada.
connect to the router with enough slack
Not
to
in
allow
your
for
area.
changes due to heat
I
and
would
cold.
be very aware of it.
When
because
selecting a
we
location
have-
to
we
route your
suffer the same
cable,
problem. We're just
avoid
down
drilling
around the
into
corner from
existing
you in
plumbing
Sonora.
or electrical
we
hardware.
are suffering from
you're ready to
being
route your
close
cable,
enough to the
plug the
phone
triangular
office,
end into the router.
and it's
Then
they've
route the other end of the
saturated it
cable
with
from the
old
inside of your
equipment
house
that
to
they're
the
not going to
outside.
change
They're not
anything.
going to change it.
The Starlink shop
What they'll
offers
do is they'll
longer
keep
cables
coming
and a
around
cable
and
routing
tightening
kit
up
to
your
simplify
line
the
or changing
process.
the copper line.
While
But
routing
until
the cable,
something
protect the
dramatically
connector from
fails in
damage,
that area,
debris,
they've got
and
no
moisture.
reason to replace
And be
any of
careful
that.
to
Hope
avoid
Elon
kinks
buy
and
the-
cuts
buy
in the
the-
cable. Lastly, plug the Starlink cable into the mast
It's
and
very
position the
frustrating
Starlink in the
to be
base.
in the middle of something though, and then,
The
oh,
Starlink will
trust me.
automatically adjust
When
to
I
the
first
ideal
moved here,
angle.
a little,
You've completed a
Mhm.
a year
permanent
ago.
installation,
um,
ensuring a
and
stable
we
and
were on
consistent internet
I rent,
experience for your home.
and my owner was on
Starlink is
Mega.
designed for self-installation.
Forget it.
If your home presents
Oh my
unique
gosh.
installation
And I
challenges,
try and run a
consider hiring
business.
a professional.
And my
to
router,
help.
you remember?
For additional information on
Jason.
installing your
my
Starlink
routers were
safely,
resetting and everything
please review
else.
the
That was
Starlink
virtually
installation
impossible to run a
instructions
business.
provided in the box.
And so we finally said enough is enough, and we switched over to.
I've had pretty good luck with X-Pro as well.
Yeah,
But in high
X-Pro's
winds,
decent.
that could be a problem because its dish is way up there.
When I came back after the sandstorm, my antenna had bent over. It was quarter inch tube. It's just bent over. Well, I'm surprised it didn't just rip it off the side of my
Yeah.
trailer.
you know, they happen all the time in Phoenix. And yet
Really?
this one
It was
made
a
at least
total surprise.
American national news.
Yes, this was the first
I've
one ever.
heard, Yeah,
Yeah.
and it just came like that.
Second.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I apologize. Thank you.
Hey, for you, those of you out there, I've already started up the second meet because we're going to be running out of time. If you want to switch over to it, this is probably a good time to do it. I'm not sure how much time we have left in this, but it's got to be only a few moments.
About 10 seconds.
4 minutes. 4 minutes left in this one
It's
meet.
probably on the-
Yes. Well, Starlink is the killer app of San Carlos. And
And you
that,
call it an app. That's interesting.
well, metaphorically.
Okay.
Metaphorically.
You just tried to confuse me.
Not trying to confuse you.
Now, ready?
I expect you to be able to keep up.
He's just stirring the pot.
No, I've used it quite a bit, and it just works wonderful. It's great. So much speed.
Yeah, I had a problem with the DNS proxy and I was emailing with them and they said, well, contact your internet provider, whatever. I said, I don't think Elon Musk is available or willing to help me.
We'll go on the
he's
app and
busy.
send a message.
Yeah.
You know, one of the problems with it that Christine experienced is that you cannot shut off IPv6, and you need to be able to use only IPv4
Right.
for this DNS proxy stuff.
Mm.
If you're running IPv6, then everything just goes addressed through that. If it runs into any kind of problems with 4, it goes through 6, and so this idea of proxying your connection doesn't work. And you can't shut that off in the Starlink equipment. And so you have to have a router in front of it that constrains your internet connection to using the older addressing format.
The other problem is it's like Amazon, there's no phone number. So if you have a problem, my dish in the US died and you can message them and they replaced it, but you know, I'd rather
Did
just
they
call
respond
somebody.
within 24 hours?
I don't remember. It wasn't 24 hours.
It was
no.
quick. Customer service is very quick,
Is that?
exceptional. Almost Nordstrom level.
Well, and there's not much left to have problems with when you've reached this point with the dish. You can have trouble with your weather, you can have trouble with your payment method, and you have trouble with your installation.
Trouble with your wife.
Do you say
But-
wife?
Life.
Yeah.
Wife.
Well, the dish had gone bad or something, so they sent a whole new cable on the dish.
But it's
And
not
they paid
like
for shipping the old one back.
Oh, good.
it's not like the kind of outages that we've had with any of the service providers around here. There's
No.
just such a fortification of this service, this satellite service.
Something's happened
That,
to the sound.
you don't hear stories of people using Starlink having I mean, how often you haven't heard it? You haven't heard people talking about mass outages of Starlink, not even locally, like because of weather, because of the satellite failing above us. I don't know the numbers, but it's like they have redundant satellites in the area. So if it's not this one, it's that one or that one.
And if you do have an outage, I think the longest one I ever had was like 2 minutes. That's it. And you can go right on the app and you can see the outages, and it drops down and then back up.
And you can go out at night and
see-
anything that
yeah,
doesn't
see the
really look
satellite.
like a star. It's kind of a
Sometimes
weird.
there's 5 or 6 of them.
Yeah, I love
passing
that.
over.
Yeah.
But feel rest assured, you would make a very good business decision.
And you're here
And
almost full
popping- and
time, so
especially if you're here full time.
Well, and there's you probably would never exceed the constraints on it. There's some bandwidth with what am I doing wrong? There we go. Okay. Sorry about that. Just getting everybody into the next meet. I think we are set. Jim, if you can hear me, you should be in the other meet.
I am.
He's right here.
Other Jim.
So tell us about this Google antitrust.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think I've heard that before.
Which one are we talking about?
I don't know how many are there where they're forcing people to use their search engine.
Oh, you know, this comes back to
It's prominent placement, I think.
Yeah.
well,
That's-
you know what's been interesting is I feel like, what am I doing wrong here? Damn it. Give me 1 second. I'm sorry. I'm doing something really wrong here.
Focus group.
Yes. I can only do one thing at a time, and I'm trying to do a dozen.
That's because we're guys.
Yeah.
We upgrade your operating
Women.
system.
You girls' brains
Get a
are
new
so
brain.
wonderful.
It stops at a certain point in life.
Multitasking.
All right.
I try.
What have I done
It's
here?
amazing.
I can't do it.
Turned
anymore.
off.
In fact, they did an autopsy on women's brain. It was amazing. For us guys, there's all little boxes with covers on them, and the boxes are tied up, and the boxes don't touch.
Is that good or bad?
And for women, your
Get
brains are
ready
like
for it. It's coming.
are like a spool of wire, electronically, where everything is interconnected.
That's why my husband never understands me.
Okay.
Actually, he just decides not to.
What am I doing
he
wrong?
doesn't
Oh,
understand.
I know.
He doesn't
your
understand a
finger
lot
out
of
of your
things
nose.
anymore.
This.
Because we can sit doing something and do virtually nothing. And you know what that's called? Fishing.
Uh,
Or you can walk into the living room, your husband is watching TV, and you ask him, "What you watching?" And you know his response will be,
I don't know.
"Nothing."
Uh.
What are you doing? Nothing.
Yeah, that's not my husband.
What are you thinking? Or
I'm spackling, I'm painting, I'm repairing the plumbing. That's his answer.
I'm in that
Hey,
little
can-
empty box.
you got it. And that
never
empty
had
box
that.
is called fishing.
Hey, can you
I
guys
saw the
out there
video, too.
see us okay?
It's not always a
Yeah.
bad.
Yeah, he's a
George
Catholic.
Foreman?
No,
Yeah.
no, no, no. He's a
Well, we
Catholic,
don't
he's a
see
Catholic
that
priest.
Huh?
The little
Can
guy.
you guys hear us
We're
okay? Is there anybody out there that's hearing us? Okay, good. I'm not sure what's going on. I can't seem to get.
Looks like it was hardly used.
Not Foreman.
I can't seem to
George
get
Foreman is the-
video
is the
on
grill.
this
Yeah,
screen
he's
for
the
some
grill.
reason.
Yeah, he's got
Yeah, that's really strange. It's the one. Okay. As long as you guys can see us, that's what matters. For some reason, here inside, I can't get it. I can't get it up on that screen for some reason. It's not taking video from me. Anyway, doesn't matter. It's going to YouTube correctly, and it's going to them correctly. It's just not coming to us correctly. That's all. This will work though. Okay. We were talking about Google lawsuits. Is that right?
Yeah.
I think that both Google and Apple are examples of this technological shift that we're at right now. They've been able to use technology. We gave them lots of freedom to use technology to build up their platforms, and now they have an amazing weight behind whatever they do, and it's starting to be perceived as monopolistic. And what I've learned only recently in the last couple of years is that there's nothing illegal about being a monopoly. It's about how you use that power that's illegal. And so these are very nuanced arguments that are being made, but I think they do need to be made. Apple, like we were talking about earlier, has called this their business model from the start. It's like, yeah, we absolutely exercise like this. That's what our customers want. There is actually a faction of customers that you'll find they'll be like, that's what we want. We don't want to have to worry about security. We want to make sure buying Apple gives us that. We want it to just work when we pull it out of our pocket. That's why we've bought it. And so they have a strong argument coming out of a time period where as TJ has said a number of times, capitalism should be free to determine, the market should be determining. And to some extent that is absolutely true. But there is a level at which you have unwielding power because of your position, and that's what they're fighting about. Apple and Google have this relationship where Google pays them billions of dollars a year so that the Apple device, when it goes to search something, searches through Google. They don't do that for anything other than to collect your data searching, because they sell your data. That's how they make their money. It's an advertising company. These are the grievances that the Justice Department's having with them, is that they are shaping how this culture grows because of the position that they now hold in the market. The way they're using their monopoly position is determining how we're going to use technology as we go forward. It's really nuanced. I think that it's very hard to come from TJ's position into this world that we're in now, because you want to release it to the free market to determine some of the stuff. But I think that this is an example of, they are so big, they have so much power.
And that's why they want restriction, which then prevents the smaller organizations, the smaller companies, to compete directly with them.
That's actually an awesome point to make, because you can't just arbitrarily start setting restrictions, and you'll find some of the strongest proponents of regulation are Facebook, Google, and Apple, because they want it to flow with their current business model. Paul, I'm gonna mute your microphone because we're having sounds coming through your session.
Come here, doggy. What's your dog's name?
He's on a leash.
Oh, he's on a leash.
It's a very valid point that if you are going to do regulation, you have to be really creative with the way you do it, because these big players want regulation to stop anything from growing up and competing against them. They want to maintain their position.
And breaking their rice bowls.
Well, and another part of this, I like breaking rice bowls as a metaphor, but literally like breaking up their companies. They're not necessarily that concerned about that either, because
when I say rice bowl, I'm talking about money,
right?
Breaking up their stream of money.
I thought you were referring to China.
No, they're rice bowls. Okay,
that's a good
in regards to their, as an example, just real quick.
Go ahead.
Night Swift Transportation out of Phoenix, Arizona. They have approximately 24,000 drivers in their fleet. They have a driver turnover rate of about 80%, which means they are hiring on an annual basis 19,000 drivers per year. With the average cost of hire cost about approximately $10,000 per driver, that's $190 million, of which about $50 million is being spent directly for driver recruiting advertising. That is a huge rice bowl.
So you're making a lot of money because you're a recruiter.
Yeah, what's it, 25%?
Now multiply that times the top 100 trucking companies. You're looking at about a $3 to $4 billion advertising industry just in trucking. And to change and to revolutionize that and to move more towards a business model of focusing on quality and rather than the continual churn in recruiting of drivers is virtually David going up against Goliath. By the way, I'm David.
So we need regulation, but we need intelligent regulation.
Correct.
When you look back in history, the experts say that we used to have regulation in these. I mean, it's not technology may have allowed these businesses to get big in this form, but we've always had some kind of cap on what we consider a monopoly, how they can use their power, regardless of how they reach that position. And it's only been in this last generation that those kinds of powers have been stripped away from the government. What do we got? No, anybody got comments on that? We've got just a few more minutes left in this. Another article about AI controlled fighter jets. You remember anything about that?
Yeah, how about that?
Tell us about what
Somebody
you know
said
about it.
Somewhere, transportation
General or
secretary went up, was
Yeah.
on this jet, and they did a dogfight, and
Mhm.
woo! And
And-
I'm into jet.
By
Did he have the capability of manual override
You
though?
know, I'm thinking no, but if
Got
he
it.
was,
No, I got the
pilot,
same impression that
he was just sitting there along for the ride.
it's like, holy.
Is there an exit button?
Yeah.
How's my parachute?
Yeah, just make sure your parachute works. Yeah, I think they have a jet, but they all do, right?
you'd hope.
Yeah. I always
You
want
know-
to go up with the Blue Angels.
Dogfights in regards to
Two jets.
aircraft
Yeah.
versus
Work?
fighting as in
Exactly.
Michael Vick.
But
Yeah,
that
no.
was a blurb. Where was that?
It was
On
on
Yahoo or
CBS
something?
Mornings, and I saw it on
Yeah.
somewhere in my news feed, Google News feed.
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
didn't
you
get the
sent
whole
me a
story.
link from the AP News, the Associated Press. Yeah.
Very brave man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I
don't
mean,
know.
you'd have to react pretty quickly if something went wrong.
Extremely.
It'd be too late.
Keep your finger on the button.
Well, so much of that now is just you're along for the ride too. There's a
Mhm.
lot of flying by wire.
Yeah.
They move so fast. A large portion of their movements are just being done by the plane to begin with. Not that I.
Commercial aircraft landing.
Yeah, you know, that's always the interesting thing is I like having a pilot in a commercial airplane. I like the idea that there's somebody in charge whose life is in jeopardy too.
But he's not landing the plane.
Well, I know, but
He's just watching the monitor.
Yeah, but he
when
has the
he's
ability
when
to
he's no
override.
longer in the cockpit,
Yeah.
that right, then they're
Yes.
making decisions about my life without any vested interest.
Thus, IA AVs within the trucking industry.
Yeah.
Automated vehicles.
That scares me because I'm going down 10 or 40.
Sure.
And there's all these trucks. And
Now, there
they're
are-
stupid drivers. We used to have a motorhome, 40-foot. And these people just cut in front of you. They just don't realize
don't.
your stopping time or inability to react.
Or to see. Some
Yeah,
of
or
the
to
semis,
see,
they
yeah.
can't see you if
I
you're
know.
directly in front.
You're reminding me of me driving in the middle of Wymus, and I watched a semi driver run right into the back end of a car as they were shifting lanes.
Oh,
He and the reason I was aware of it is because I was right beside him. This is on the main road, right beside him. He starts coming over like he doesn't even see that I'm right beside him, and I have to put on the brakes.
Oh, the truck started to avoid the other
Yeah.
car.
Pull well, no, he was just getting in the other lane. There was nothing he was avoiding except maybe traffic.
Because he couldn't see it.
Well, he didn't see me, and so he starts coming over. I start going over. There's nowhere for me to go. There's no shoulder or anything. There's more shoulder now than there was at the time. And I literally ended up coming to a complete stop in front of a telephone or a power pole because that's where he left me. And I'm like, and I'm looking ahead of me, and he's run into the car in front of me because he's so lost. He has wiped out the back end of the car that was in the lane in front of me as I like successfully avoided him. The guy in front did not. I stuck around. I was so mad. This is years ago. I was so mad I stuck around. Waited for the police to show up and yelled at the truck driver in front of the police officer. You almost did the same thing to me. And even the guy that got hit was like, boy, this gringo's mad.
I wonder who he knows.
Like, you could kill somebody. You're driving in the middle of my city and you're driving like an idiot.
No place for
I used to drive in Palme 3 or 4 times a week because of contracts that we had out there at the park. And I used to play this. I used to play this game. I still do it when I go into wine. How many times can I save my own life?
Yeah.
You got to drive very
It's good.
defensively.
Yeah. I think my highest count has been 9 on one trip. Where like if I had not been making my decisions, I would have been hit by somebody.
Drive very defensively.
Recommendations?
Sure. Let's wind this down. Does anybody have any recommendations? I'll just remind you, they don't have to be shows and movies. They can also be websites, podcasts. They can be apps that you're using that have been helpful, or books that you're reading.
Arthur the King.
Say again?
Arthur the King.
That's a new movie?
New movie, very good.
Okay.
Family movie about a dog. Where'd you go?
Named
About a
Arthur?
dog and a runner on a marathon runner,
Yeah.
and it's a true story.
Oh, cool.
Okay.
All right.
And it's very well done. It's good. Just watched it.
So is Arthur the
like
dog?
Arthur the King. But Arthur, yes, Arthur is the dog.
A Man in Full with Jeff Daniels.
Oh, really?
It's a limited series on Netflix.
A Man in Full?
Yeah. The book,
Yeah.
Standing by Thomas Wolfe. We read it many, many years ago.
In Full.
Scott, you might like Fallout.
Oh, yeah. It's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
You already watched
Yeah,
it.
I already
Okay.
watched it all.
All right.
I've also been a player of the game before the series came out, and they've just done an
I just
exceptional
got through
job.
episode 1.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, they've done an exceptional job. It is a beautiful, just you dump just right into that universe. Getting some phone calls over on that end. Jeff Daniels, I haven't checked out, but have you watched Rust?
Yes, excellent.
I have not seen the second season, but the second season's out now,
Oh, I
isn't
didn't
it?
know that.
What?
Rust. He plays a sheriff in a town, the Rust Belt, where all this dyeing, manufacturing, steel type areas, and he plays it. They've got their own dramas going on there. There's been a murder. There's
Is he
been
an
people
alcoholic?
hiding. Yeah, it seems like he's an alcoholic in it or something like that.
What is that on Netflix?
Oh, I don't remember what it's on. Streamio.
Yeah.
Cody.
I'll find it.
Premio.
But the first season was excellent. I can't wait to watch the second season. It is one of those shows though where it's just like there's no happy show. That one episode's like a happy episode. In fact, some of the, even though it's so well done, I don't have a tendency to enjoy that kind of content because I like escapism. I don't like stuff that touches really close to home. We got enough garbage going off in real life. I can just turn on the news to find garbage. I don't need some dramatized piece of garbage to come at me.
You got 2 daughters. Give it time.
Right. I got my own drama going on.
On the complete opposite of the scale, I've been binge watching Murphy Brown.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
amazed at how topical the writing was today.
Yeah.
Writing
And
was
it's
excellent. Yeah.
It was a very intelligent show at its time, I remember.
He says he's going to great lengths to protect his lover's son from murder charges. I don't know if that
Wow.
was.
Yeah,
one
that's it.
or-
That's the first season at least.
And it's on Showtime. And I'm amazed when I watch him, what an excellent actor he's turned into. You know, I would think of him as in his early movies where he played idiot funny stories.
Oh, like the Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. What I really liked him in was Newsroom.
Yeah, that was good too.
That was excellent. And Andy Sorkin, I think, was the writer director of that. Or
That was good. Did anybody watch him? He played George Washington in one of the shows, movies, I believe. I don't know that it was a series. It's a while back, but I thought he did an awfully good job of being George Washington. Although I have no idea what George is like. Just I know what I want him to be like. Jeff did it.
he was probably younger.
Yeah, maybe. Well, certainly not as battle worn.
George Washington. He's
Yeah,
probably younger
no.
than Jeff Daniels. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gettysburg.
Is that what he was?
Gettysburg. Wait, he was in Gettysburg?
Was he?
I don't even remember that.
He
Yeah.
headed up the Maine.
Godless was really good too.
I think Gettysburg was before Dumb and Dumber, wasn't it? I like when
Talk
he
about a
when-
juxtaposition.
right. Well, it's kind of fun to follow actors that do stuff like that. They don't,
Yeah, Gettysburg was. I was coming back from Afghanistan
Oh.
2005. So it was right around 2004, 2003, 2004 that Gettysburg came.
I didn't know he was in arachnophobia.
oh yeah.
He
That
has,
movie doesn't get enough credit.
he has quite a,
Yeah.
a body
John
of work,
Goodman's in that
doesn't he?
movie too. Yeah.
His range.
The wonderful first, I think it was the first episode, and I can't remember the series, in reference to the question of the young lady, college girl, asked the panel, there's three people.
Oh yeah. It's Newsroom.
Newsroom.
Newsroom. Yeah. No, that was
Why is
That
America
was good.
greatest country in the world? And when you look at today's discussions, it falls right in place.
Yeah, that alone is great. You can find that on YouTube.
Yes,
That whole dialogue. Andy
that clip-
Serkin
that
is so
clip-
intelligent.
That clip is probably one of the most prophetic, and it's 12 years old.
Yeah, no, and it's so poignant
That's the way
right
I talk
now.
about the Murphy Brown
Sure.
Yeah.
reload. It's today.
And the Left Behind series. But we won't. That makes some people feel uncomfortable. So
Anything else? You guys got anything you want to recommend to us? Something we should check out? A website that's been useful? Any events coming up we should know about? Last in-person meeting for the season?
Your father's having a birthday.
That is
Happy
true.
birthday.
That's good.
Not till the 10th.
October.
No. May
Oh,
10th. It's his mom's Mother's Day present.
Hey, Scott,
Yeah, Jim.
before we get off, would you give me a call after we're off if you've got time for one more assignment before you go?
Sure.
Okay.
I'll get a hold of you after this.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Well, I think we're going to bring this to an end if we don't have any more topics to discuss. And we've run out of recommendations. This is 2 days meeting. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the hour, we are not meeting next week, or at least I'm not. You guys can do whatever you want. I won't be available. I will be available the following week, the 21st, and that will be a virtual meeting, and they will continue to be virtual meetings throughout the summer season until I return in October.
Okay.
So you are all welcome to join us, and until then, you guys tack on.
Take care.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.
And if it was Saturday, it would have.
That's right.
Back on.